Yeah.
I'll take two.
And then we need an approval of the agenda.
Are we going?
Yeah. We're live.
I just need to focus. I had a headache. Here,
Right here.
Do you want my seat? You're so far away.
All right, so we need approval of the agenda day two. So, all right, got a second? Second, got the Arthur second, all right. All approved? Do we have a full board here? All right. Do we have any public comment on the agenda items? Public is left.
They only like me.
Yes, but, all right, we'll continue to roll on, it's all right. Referendum projects, expenditures, projects using guaranteed maximum price model.
Thank you, Mr. Guthrie. At our last finance committee meeting, we had discussion on bringing y'all the contracts that we have under guaranteed maximum price. So we have a few of them under our referendum projects. So we have the spreadsheet open later in board packet. I'll just go through it really quickly. You had asked for what the project was and who the contractor was, how much we've spent. And so far we have seen savings on one. We have actually finished one division, phase one of division of classrooms under the Ashley Ridge High School project. Harper General Contractors is that contractor. The guaranteed maximum price was $120,205. And we spent $100,752. So we generated a little savings there. For phases 2 through 4, which is the new band room addition, and then the renovation of the existing band and weight rooms, additional classrooms. I'm sorry, renovation of those classrooms. 9.9 million was the guaranteed maximum price, again with Harper General Contractors, and that's an ongoing project. And as of 10/31, we had not spent anything yet, so haven't recognized any savings yet, but we'll see how we do with that project. Tony's anticipating lots of savings everywhere, right, Tony? Just kidding. The next set of projects that we had there's a little caveat for the Fort Dorchester High School. We listed that because their construction of a new classroom is about to be underway. It's currently in the design phase, and we will have a guaranteed maximum price, but we have not named that general contractor. In fact, in the facilities committee meeting, we were going to present the short list of the names of those contractors who've been pre-qualified. We will want to let y'all know that that was currently in the design phase. Sandhill Elementary School is general contractor is J. Davis Construction, and they are constructing 10 new classrooms for us. We're almost completed with that. It still hasn't, we haven't made all of our payments yet. The guaranteed maximum price was 5.49 million. We've spent 3.85 million to date. For Somerville Elementary School, contract construction is the name of that general contractor. Phase 1 and phase 2. Phase 1 has been completed. That was the demolition of the existing building. Of course, we had to finish that before we could go on to phase 2. That's completed. We have not issued our final payment. Phase 2, construction of the new building. The GMP was 14.4 million. The amount paid as of 10/31 was 286,000, and it is ongoing. Now this is just, keep in mind that these are projects that, this is just for the construction cost. This doesn't include the furniture, fixture, and equipment or any technology items that we needed to put inside the classrooms. We were simply showing the construction contract for the actual building that is underneath the guaranteed maximum price. These last two items, the Somerville High School, this is the construction of the new gymnasium. We're working with Thompson Turner Construction Group, currently in design phase, so it has not been completed, so we're not showing any signed GMP there, as well as the ponds. We have worked with Hood Construction, and they did present us, but we didn't sign a contract with them because we don't have the land yet, so we didn't want to hold either one of us to that guaranteed maximum price. Still waiting for that land. Anybody heard anything for the land?
What if, I think we talked about the other day, did we say 3 to 5% increase a year while it's not being constructed?
That's our estimated escalation. So between 3 and 5%.
The room goes silent.
I know, I don't know what to add after that, but yes,
As I said, I think that's very conservative.
Yes.
The rate things are going, but that's just me.
Yeah.
I'm naive, so the question may sound a little hilarious to you all.
No.
So since they are part of the problem, can we ask that they cover some of that increase?
I don't want to be part of the issue.
You think they are talking about the ponds, Coulter, or?
Coulter, though. I mean, since I've been hearing about it, they seem to be between them and the county seem to have been the sticking points. So I mean, if they're the one holding us up, and then the county needs to give us the money.
Love your thought
I was
process and I
gonna say-
support us right
I mean,
now.
That sounds reasonable to me, but like I said, I don't.
we could ask our in-house counsel their thoughts.
I would be happy to send them a letter requesting that. Yeah.
Maybe that'll give them a little bit incentive to move a little faster or do whatever they need to do. You never know until you ask.
I'm happy to make that request of them, yeah.
What's the dollar figure on that? What was the bid that we got back
So
at the top?
the first go around was just over 47 million.
So then you were, 2.5 million a year?
Yes.
No,
So we're at 49,
Mhm.
hopefully.
So we use 2.5 million. And if we don't start until next year, no, I mean, that's, say $2.5 million. Maybe that's the letter. We've sent them, obviously, we've sent all the letters we can. It's good to talk about here, then we also talk about facilities, but maybe everybody needs to know that there is a dollar amount assigned to this. For every moment they wait, this is real money, not out of my pocket. It is out of my pocket. It's out of taxpayers' pockets. Good job, Coulter.
if you don't ask, you don't know.
We don't want to create value engineering.
Not for $2.5 million. I don't think, I don't know.
Would you say, I'm sorry, I couldn't.
You don't want to do value engineering. It's a bad word. Bad phrase, yeah.
Sometimes that cuts out some of the things that we really could use down the road. Maybe not currently, but, then we end up paying for it later and it could be an escalated cost then as well if we have to add it back on.
Well, it's probably a topic for the facilities meeting, but looking at it through the financial lens, the reality is depending on how long it takes for the property to be deeded to us, because we're still got to go through the county council and then to us, that we may need to come back and have a financial oriented discussion about what that does to our overall funding. I mean, this is funded by the referendum, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct.
Okay. And inflation is whatever inflation is going to be. And if we use 2.5 million now, 3 million, whatever, pick a number, that's something that we're going to have to evaluate at that time. Does that mean that we have to change our designs? Does that mean that we have to
Sure.
look at other things? I would say it's a real issue.
But it's wasted money as far as the taxpayers and all that. And I think they need to understand that you're not building relationships that way. And I would hate for the county, I mean, the people to know that we have had to go through all of this, but then in a way, I don't mind if they know. So anyway, that's just my opinion.
Hopefully it'll come sooner rather than later, and hopefully some of our other projects will come in under budget. We could utilize some of that savings towards if there is a delay in that GMP would increase. That's the beauty of being able to use referendum dollars from savings, but we don't know, just up in the air with getting the property.
Yeah.
So we will keep that all in mind.
And as far as Somerville High School, we're not under contract there.
Has not
That's
been
correct.
completed yet, right?
Right now, currently, we have run a few roadblocks there, and Tony, I don't know if you want to answer, we're getting ready to do a smoke study to think about whether or not we have the capacity, if there was a fire to get out of the doors and those things. So we're looking at doing that. So we're kind of in a holding pattern right now. So we are in the process of trying to go through that. So that's the sticking point there. We thought we'd be a little farther along in that. So we just kind of hit a hiccup on that the other day, so.
So how long do they anticipate the study will take to be completed?
I don't know, Tony, hate to put you on the spot on that, but
They're hopeful to have the construction documents completed by May or June next year.
Okay. Media building projects. So those are all the items that we had for the new construction cost summary. If anybody has any questions on anything.
Simple.
Okay.
Appreciate the update.
Yes.
Right. We have quarter one contracts between 50,000 and 250,000.
Yes, so we prepared this report. This is, again, as Mr. Guthrie just stated, 50 to 250. We have been bringing the contracts that are over $250,000 to the board for approval. Some of the items that you'll see here, or that actually that you won't see here, are those items that you had already approved prior to the new fiscal year. This is for quarter one, which is July 1 through September 30th, 2025. So we did have some contracts that carried over from the prior year, but you had already approved those. So we did not include those on this list. So the PO date, if the items were created after 7/1, these are the ones that we're bringing to you that were new. I don't know if you wanted me to go through all of these. I'll hit the highlights, or we can talk about all of them. I'll just start at the top is, we started with an account description. It's for student services for insurance through Bates Brokers. That's for our student insurance that we cover. We also have an annual contract with Coastal Burglar Alarm. That's for an annual contract.
Sorry, I mean, you got to talk about that. So are all of the, so for instance, like the insurance, is that an annual, I'm assuming it's an annual policy?
Correct.
So that's 83,000 for the year.
Correct. That's for the,
Can we, and this is awesome, because I don't know that I've ever seen this report, this is great.
this is new.
Can we put, and I see most of them are listed out where it says like annual contract, maybe we just add a column. If it's a recurring cost,
Okay.
if that makes sense to say, is this an annual contract, is this something where, is an annual contract we pay quarterly? You see what I'm saying?
Sure.
Just so we can get a full idea of cost.
Annual, quarterly, some of them are one-time costs. Some of them aren't, I don't know if you would consider them actual like written contracts, like if you'll go down a couple more to Somerville Elementary School kitchen equipment, Somerville High School kitchen equipment. So those are one-time purchases, and we consider a purchase order a contract. Those are under state contract, so we did not have to bring those items. Again, they were between 50 and 250, so we didn't need board approval. But being under state contract, the state has already gone through that procurement process. So, and those were in the budget for food service. They were used with food service funds. So these were the items that y'all had asked to see if it was in the budget, just to know what we're paying that are between 50 and $250,000. Excuse me. Yep, so we'll add a column there. That's a good idea, for some additional description if you would like. Just go through some more. We had some tech and software supplies under the kitchen equipment. That's for vendor is Curriculum Associates. That's for some special services. Curriculum, instructional technology. We had to Dakin applied. We used 8% funds under our HVAC emergency funding line items to Fort Dorchester High School. We also had technology supplies that was under Kate to Dell World Trade for $69,000. The next one is paving and concrete for $62,000. That's part of the referendum contract. Referendum funding. Technology Wi-Fi enhancement under technology, the Encore Technology Group. They were also under state contract, as well as the next two items to Ford of Spartanburg. These were included in our general fund budget for facilities to purchase 2 vans for facilities. Not sure if those are vans or trucks. Tony Dino, sorry, Jeff's not here. Were those for vans or trucks? Do you remember?
Yeah.
Those vehicles that we purchased were those vans or trucks? Do you remember?
Last purchase with vans.
Vans, that's what I thought. Thank you. Then we had some data processing supplies from Frontline. We use Frontline for our absence management, and also for substitute management. So those are technology items. We also have for data processing supplies, Houghton Mifflin Harcourt, that's for instructional software. Mobile communications for 239,000 under referendum, that was for the secure vestibules. And y'all had approved of that project, so we want to bring that to you to show.
Sorry to stop them.
Good.
If you say that, I'm assuming like 507, I'm assuming that's referendum.
Yes, it is.
Can you just do another column that says, because I don't know our fund names, but.
Oh, my God. Absolutely. I should probably do the same thing with location, because I know all of those locations, y'all probably don't. Fund name and location.
General fund and district office, 000.
Right, or district-wide. District-wide, if it benefits the entire district, we usually put it as 0. I don't know how to say the next one. Zella, yay. Thank you, Katie. Okay, good.
Not that, but
So what is that for? What is it?
educational. It's for reading enrichment.
Reading enrichment.
Maybe
Maybe
that's our formative that's our formative platform, Newsella bought formative. So that's, I mean, you're right. That is what it is. That's what this fund is.
okay. I will add a description that's more more intuitive than just the account description. This comes straight out of the system, and I just needed to have a little bit more explanation of what these are. Like Newsella, data processing supplies, and then Katie says formative assessment. So I'll have my friends help me out with all of these for next time. Oh, because the next line is formative assessments, Katie, for
That's
them.
math. Also formative assessment.
Next is Panorama Education. We actually did bring that to y'all to, in the budget. This is for the student,
TSS, that's how we track MTSS district-wide. And we also have student success that helps us track grad rate and high school student success indicator.
Are those services or software platforms?
It's a software platform.
Kinds of things that I need to add to this report. I'm glad we're going through this. But this is the first time we brought it, so this is what we're here for, is to
This is great.
create what you, yes, and what you would like to see more of. So this is good. The next item is Pearson Assessment. That is for our special services group. Rocker Technologies, I think everyone is familiar with that. That's an annual expenditure. Elementary science kit supplies is the next line item for 59.7. That's of course for science kit supplies. Equipment under Signs Unlimited in South Carolina. That is for a new signage for Fort Dorchester High School. 016 is Fort Dorchester High School. You remember for next. 020 is designates our special services. Teach Town is a teaching platform for special services. The Keena Edwards Group, this is for, Tony, you told me this morning, then I forgot, Keena Edwards Group.
But we have a contract with them to do painting and light construction.
So. I have my, I can refine this for the next time. We'll do these quarterly. Is there anything else that would be helpful? Again, these are just the contracts that were within our budget that y'all had already discussed, or we had already talked about, like under the referendum, or they were approved in the general fund budget, or that we have talked about. if there's anything else specific that would be helpful to see.
These are all contracts executed within the first quarter.
Right. All the purchase orders that were, that we created during this quarter or were paid, that you hadn't seen before, specifically that you hadn't seen before.
Between 50 and 250,000.
Correct.
Because 250,000 in theory, we should see those come to the board for one approval.
Thanks for the clarity.
Yeah, that's great.
Improved clarity. I understand a little better than I did while I walked in. So thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, the final item,
You got special revenue funds for quarter one?
yeah, so this is, so I should have Lisa do all of our reports because she does great reports and she uses colors and she did not work on this last one. It did have gray on the last one, so I guess that's a color. Okay.
It's
So
a
Lisa-
data report.
There you go. Telling on myself. So this is our special revenue funds of the various funds that we have. As a note, funds that start with 2, those are federal funds. And it says federal funds, it's that first section. State Education Improvement Act is our 300s. And we have other state funds that are in the 900s. These are all of the major funds. So we wanted to just report to you as a comparison from FY '25, what the budget was for last year versus expenditures. And if you see a difference between budget and expenditures, and there's typically a carryover in these federal funds, which is brought over into the FY '26. So the allocation that we received this year plus the carryover is indicated in the budget. So just the first line is for Title I, and their budget is 5.6 million. Through September, which ends our first quarter, there was 736,000 of expenditures. And we had encumbrances. And then we'll note that in the first quarter for claims, if we did not receive the final budget and it was not input into the grant claiming system at the state, then we weren't able to claim anything for the first quarter. So the expenditures would have been claimed, but we didn't have budgets in the system. So you can see that is indicated for quite a few of our grants, and that's not, and that's typical.
And Tina, I don't know, did you want to clarify a possibility, if you look at the 5.6 million we get from Title I, there could be a possibility of cuts in the future. Am I right? That's a
Yes,
Possibility.
yes.
We quoted that, so.
There's always a possibility that your federal grants will go down. But they have come out with, they won't give us a specific amount. So we went to the School Business Officials Conference last week, and their big number that they were saying is plan on a 15% cut. We're like, 15%. Did they tell you all the same thing, the federal programs people?
They told us more, but they tell everybody something different. They told us between 20 and 25%. You heard 15.
Yeah, they told us 15. Oh, go in the middle.
High number.
So again, thinking of that, those are things we're gonna have to look at, because if we don't, they don't come out of that budget, it's gonna have to go to the general fund. And so those are things we're gonna have to look at where those are gonna go. And there's a lot of, some of that involves people. So,
Would these cuts they're talking about, when would those take effect?
For the next year's budget.
Okay.
They wouldn't affect current year operation, but definitely impact budgeting for next year.
correct. So those are things where I know, Teresa's really working with Tina on that to make sure we stay within, it doesn't impact the general fund budget. So, because again, that operating it's crucial. We're gonna be able to give raises and, to our people, so.
Yes, it all plays in
Closely
with
watching.
general fund budget, which we're intending to start that process earlier this year. We want to start with the departments and schools. Probably before we leave for Christmas break, we will have our initial meetings, and then as soon as we get back, we'll start working on budget. Hopefully.
And I think it's important that you let the employees know it's not something we're doing, it's
Correct.
being done to us. And so everybody will be affected possibly. And, so they have heads up and know how they want to plan. But we aren't the only one. This is across the board.
Right.
But we will feel it more probably than other people may. And I just like them being prepared.
Because the big thing is when you go to allocations, you know, when you have people that, you know, we have openings and
Right.
those people now are going to be part of going in the pool. We have to find jobs for those people.
Right.
So they have to be able to, you know, put in for a transfer. I want to go to these buildings because they may not be in that same building that they're currently in now.
Right.
So, yeah, those are big concerns for us.
But like we did the other night, I think it's a matter of letting them know we're just being transparent and, you know, we know you gotta do what you have to do, but we want to do our part.
And that was Title I, right?
Yes.
The next line is IDEA funding, and the folks told us last week that it didn't look like IDEA was going to be considered cut, but for IDEA funding, one thing that we found. Oh, so as a matter of fact, Lisa did a very good key. See, she should have done my report that I just did because she did a key for what all of the funds mean. and what their descriptions are. So that's, we uploaded all this information to your packet, but there's an explanation based on what the State Department of Education calls what 201 funds are for, what 203 funds are for IDEA. Title I is funds provided to ensure that all children have a fair, equal, and significant opportunity to obtain a high-quality education and reach at a minimum proficiency on challenging state academic achievement standards and state academic assessments. IDEA is funds to supplement the level of state and local funds expended for the education of children with disabilities. And again, all of those funds are, she has an explanation for those.
You say not to put too broad of a stroke on that. Could you say special revenue funds or anything where there are strings attached to those funds?
Oh, yes, you could say that. I feel like that's safe to say.
Strings are at least stipulations and they're for specific purposes that we have to compile separately.
So it's not only directed, but it has to be accounted for separately as well.
Be separate funds, not necessarily separate checking accounts. We don't mean that by funds, but the separate 201, 203, 205. All of those. They don't get bundled up with our general fund.
And I think that's important for even those that work in education to know that, because they see this pile of money and think, well, y'all have money, but it's not money we can just spend at will.
Right.
It has a particular purpose. Yes.
Yes, ma'am. So those are just some of our federal funds in that first section, the state funding in the second section. Some of our bigger pots of money is CTE, the Career and Technology Education. We have $1.1 million. And these are funds that come to us at the beginning of the year, and we allocate them over the course of the year. Those are not reimbursable, where the federal funds, you spend it and then you're reimbursed for what you spend. And then the other state funds, those typically come at the end of the year. Well, Reading Coaches comes during the year through our state funding. So just the total of these so far for FY 26, you can, on that first column under budget for in the green column for FY 26, you can see some that are not, some of the cells are not completed. We haven't gotten our allocation yet from the state on those. So we haven't received that funding yet.
Is that normal that we haven't gotten those yet? Or-
Yeah, some of them, like the ADEPT, we don't receive that until close to the end of the year. Arts and education grants, we are just receiving those grant award notifications. The schools actually apply for those grants. Those are competitive grants. Formative assessments is a one-time reimbursement that we get later in the year. Issue certifications as well. So the state compiles some of the money, some of the statistics and analytics, and then they determine how much they would give us for those. Those are kind of smaller pots of money. The rest of them, yes, we've already got this allocation. So just the ones we have budgeted so far. next quarter, when we come back in January, we'll have our, well, let's see, we'll have our information through the end of January meeting or February Finance Committee meeting when we come back. All budget columns should be completed and you'll see the grand total of the budget. Usually our federal funding is about 20, last year showed 23.3 million. I'm sorry, for the special revenue funds. We also get another pot of money that we didn't show on here is our special revenue fund, food service funding. We report that to y'all every month. The changes in that fund balance and the revenues that we receive, we'll add that to this one too, because we haven't shown you the revenues and the expenditures. Hopefully our revenues will be going up this year. CEP all around. Any fine tuning you could see for this report? Probably not, because Lisa did it. Just kidding.
Looking at that, like your explanations, and those are very helpful. And I it's really, it's great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Very interesting.
So yes, we have a bunch of different pots of money, not just the general fund for operations, but all of these other pots as well. And with more specifications, you have to take more time to make sure that you're fine with everything and you're compiling a lot of data. I know the title funds are very specific and you have to collect so much information. I think that's the most labor intensive federal grant that we have is the Title I grant. So
Sleep here, don't worry.
Teresa's got,
Yeah,
Teresa is on top of it, but yeah, they require a lot of information. IDEA is the next biggest pot that we have for special services and we use that to pay for salaries and benefits mostly. I've started to say that the one bad thing about IDEA is that while they may increase every year, it doesn't increase enough to cover if we give increases, which we have to give our folks increases, but the fund itself does not lend to increases. So as Mr. Gordy said, we have to watch that and then reallocate someone over to the general fund because we don't have enough money to cover all of those folks.
So when we go through the budget process, anticipating where these funds are coming through, do we include the cost of managing and governing those programs because they have so many onerous
So you are able to charge the fund an indirect cost. And so then that comes over to the general fund for the time that Teresa spends on that, on those grants, that indirect cost
So we
comes
can
over to the
budget
general
for
fund.
it.
It is included in our transfers, in our revenues. It's kind of 6-1, half a dozen the other, like in the IDEA, you can charge indirect costs to that and bring it back to the general fund. Or we'll just bring somebody over the general fund because we're crossing over, if that makes sense. The revenue versus the expenditure. But all the titles we do charge indirect costs. Good question. Y'all are really thinking about finance stuff. I'm sorry.
I like it.
Absolutely. Technical question.
Diving a little bit deeper each month. Thank you.
Each time.
I love how y'all work well together. That's good. That makes it easier.
We like finance. I don't know if Teresa loves the finance part of it, but
Just math intervention.
Okay.
I love dealing with math.
did you have another question?
Technical question. So is a pot of funds bigger or smaller than a bucket? Didn't notice either of those in the definition. No, seriously, I appreciate it. Appreciate all you do.
Use both terminology. Come on, between them and say, ask Jim.
We'll say that the title is a big bucket, but adult ed is a pot.
That's good. I really appreciate all you guys have done. Again, provide more and more information to help both inform and educate us and also to provide information to the public. Because a lot of this is a black box to most people.
And I think we'll talk about tonight, one of the goals we talked about was transparency, making sure that, with our finance reports, people can understand it at their level, everybody's level. So it's being accountable for those funds.
And I think, I have to teach from, speak from the perspective of those that are in the classrooms. Sometimes we don't understand. Before I came on the board, there are a number of things. All I know is, hey, I need some more money, and when y'all gonna give it to me, I had no idea what all y'all had to do in order to get it. And so, and I think that's where a lot of people stand now. They think we have all this money.
Right.
And they think we had the money we had back in the day that we don't have. So I think the more clarity you bring to them, the better they will feel even, and some of them will still stay. That's the conversation I've had with some of them. They still appreciate what we're trying to do. So don't take it lightly. And then there are those, I have to say to them, I understand you have a family. There are certain things that you have to do. So you do it. But just know we're here. If you ever decide you want to come back and you haven't messed up down there, I'm just kidding.
No.
But no, but seriously,
We're in
we
a
have a
different
very,
predicament here in our district, unfortunately, with our funding, so.
but we have a lot of
Best.
very faithful and they really care about the district. And supposedly and hopefully they have someone that can help make the difference so they can remain. So thank you for this.
And Mr. Barnsworth had asked if it's okay with Mr. Guthrie and Mr. Lee that we talk about Act 388 a little bit more. Maybe in our next finance committee meeting, we could bring some additional information because we'll be getting ready to start with budget process. I think it's helpful for people to understand that as well as why we don't have as much money. I know we talk about it every year during the budget process, but maybe just different avenues and different times.
Our legislature's not in session, so we can. Yeah, so.
We should plaster Act 388 stuff in front of parents
That's what
all
I
the
think.
time.
Thank you.
We should put it in the front office. It should be in the handbook.
Just for educational purposes and for just the realization of how it's affected our district, but we know it's not gonna change.
It is something we talked to Dr. Robbins about, is doing like a campaign, like a quick, like, it's like you go through, there's different images, like a graphic design thing where it's like maybe 3 or 4 social media graphics, and then you can like, teachers can share them as that conversation comes up. Cause I know there's so many times I wish I just had a quick little fact sheet, Act 3D fact sheet, just to copy and paste to people, that's-
Just as recently, they were
so
talking about the young man with the gun. Well, if we had those detectives at every school and this, that, and the other, well, they cost money. They cost a lot of money. And so, let them know, it's not as though we have this big pocket of money that we can go, but we can do it what we have. I don't know what they're doing with all the money. It's like, what money? So-
Well, I'll give you an example. One of the things on our budget last year, we took it out, was a person in personnel for recruitment and retention. And so the one thing we're looking at, I know with Teresa and with Tina, we're trying to look at that in Title IV. Because if we can take it out of Title IV, then it's paid for by the grant. And so that's one thing we're looking at and probably bring to the board, possibly soon, because we think we can get that approved. Because I know that was a big push with our retention and recruitment task force, is to have that person, and basically that person will be part of personnel. That person will help then kind of be with our new teachers,
Right.
kind of be that kind of little arm around that new teacher to hopefully, keep them so they don't decide they're going to go somewhere else. Kind of the friend, they're not going to be the heavy, but just, hey, how are things going? And what can we do to help support you? And so again, trying to help that retention piece. So that's something that we'll probably bring back to you and let you know if that's a possibility. So I know that's something that we're looking at. So, but the issue we have to look at is, if we can do it, you do it for this half year, and then if it goes a whole calendar year, then what happens in another half of the year? If the funding runs out, and then we have to think about, is that expenditure going to our general fund? And so then, you're looking at possibly a year and a half for that position or a year in that position. And then the person would say, okay, if we don't have it, you're guaranteed a job, but it's not out of the general fund bucket. So again, we're trying to get creative, trying to figure out how to get some of those positions we know that are needed to help with that recruitment and retention piece. Because what we're seeing is a lot of districts are doing that. It's really helping. I know Scott's went to a conference. I went one with him last year and they had a lady that talked about how she's gone to their weddings. She's done this, you know, just that person that's that kind of that motherly figure, or fatherly figure. So something will be on the horizon. So.
And even at the level that we're doing it, like when we had to meet the new teachers and we were over at,
Yeah, rise.
yes,
Mhm.
and they were, I mean, they said, we didn't know people do it, you know, y'all do that? Y'all actually come up and talk to folks.
Yeah.
So they love it and they need that and they want it, especially first year, even just first and new to the district. Just knowing where do you go, how do I do this? Because all the regular teachers that have been there, they're busy trying to do their thing. So having that extra support, I think is needed. And
Yeah, that connectedness piece is so important and, you know, being visible and being able to talk with people and listen to people. So.
you get a lot of compliments.
Well,
I'm serious.
we try to do.
Kenny and those are old, so they don't get,
You know,
but this
everybody-
new.
Everybody in this room does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was that part of that?
No, I'm not saying that they don't, but what I'm saying is, I've just heard so many positive things about how you are there and, you know, you express you care. I know Kenny is a teddy bear. One day I'm gonna tell you my story, but anyway, he's a big teddy bear. He acts like a, yeah, but he's a teddy bear.
But going back to that position, you know, that's something we're looking at and just want to make sure to put that on the finance committee's horizon and possibly bring it back to you some way, shape or form. So just want to put that out there because I know we just had a conversation with that just about today. And I know Teresa's trying to work her grant, her magic of trying to make sure to, and Tina and the finance team trying to make sure we have the right
Teresa's
tools
the
that
one
are.
that can really talk. She speaks the language, lingo with the title folks, with the State Department folks.
Yes. And she's got every penny accounted for and making sure that we are following all the federal guidelines. So we appreciate it. So thank you.
Finance, y'all can have the rest of the day off tomorrow. Y'all can leave at 4:00.
Right, any public comments? Take two? None? So adjourn. Thank you.